Welcome to State and Fig, located in historic La Arcada Plaza in downtown Santa Barbara.
Our menu focuses on products that are raised in the state of California, inspired by the flavors of the Riviera.
And we are proud to be sponsoring this program.
Hello, I'm Twyla Kim. I've been an artist and hairstylist in Santa Barbara for 20 years. I personalize color, design, and precision haircuts for each individual at Sequel Salon in Montecito. I'm happy to be sponsoring Get Conscious Now.
I'm attorney Gregory Lowe. I will prepare your trust, bankruptcy, divorce, conservatorship, probate, evictions. All of this I can do at an affordable price and with caring. Thank you very much.
When I was growing up as a kid, I used to go around with him and watch him.
My mother and I both worked at Lowry Field to keep on doing this together.
Hello, I'm Patricia DiOrio, and this is Get Conscious Now, the television show that informs, uplifts, and inspires us to remember that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. What I love about this show and what makes it so unique is that we delve into these rich, relevant conversations about consciousness and what it means to be conscious in areas of life that we wouldn't normally associate with the spiritual conversations, so to speak. Like politics, imagine that, or education, or art, or business, or the media, for example. Another reason why I love doing this show is that I have a chance to co-host with a great guy. He was not only very conscious, but he's smart, witty, and quite entertaining. His name is Stu Zimmerman, and I'm sure he has some very inspiring words for you. There you are. You're on, Stu.
Thank you, Patricia. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. If you haven't been here before, welcome for the first time. And welcome to a brand new moment that never existed before. So I'm going to invite you all into this consciousness thing that we're talking about here. On one level, it's something for each of us individually. And on another level, it's about all of us together, because ultimately, there's only one massive field of consciousness that we're all aspects of. So I'm going to invite you into the field that we just created here shortly before we came on the air. And to invite you in, let's start, please, with a very deep breath. Just really feel centered and yeah, just let it in and let it out. And you may notice that just by simply breathing a little more deeply, boing, you can literally shift your not only just conversation, but shift how you feel in your body. And that's what we're here to do in this program, is to begin to shift the conversation not only to what we're doing out there, but how we could be doing whatever it is that we're doing with consciousness, how we can feel in this very moment, right here, right now. And we've got a fantastic show for you today. We have other shows that if you haven't seen them yet, you can come to YouTube on our Get Conscious Now is the name of our channel, go believe. Get Conscious Now on the YouTube channel. So come see us there. And in fact, we have a little bit of a follow-up from our last program with Julia Loggins that I know you want to see the original if you missed it, and you'll get a little bit more of a follow-up about the power of colon hydrotherapy later today and how that brings consciousness into one's life. But you'll have to watch the rest of the show to find out. In the meantime, here's Patricia right back at you.
Now that is something to motivate them to watch the rest of the show.
Or perhaps they're all leaving now, one or the other.
Oh, great. Thanks, Stu. All right, so in this show, we're going to talk about conscious marketing. And before you meet our expert guest, I wanted to share a little piece of research that I discovered in preparing for the show. It was actually an article called What It Means, let me look at it. The Call for Conscious Marketing, a fellow by the name of Bill Barron. And what he does is he creates this amazing analogy between our broken political system and unconscious marketers. He says, just like politicians are all caught up in their election and re-election and staying in power rather than really taking care of the people that they were voted in to serve, taking care of their constituents, unconscious marketers will do just about anything to get a person to do something, whether it's vote or purchase a product or hire them, where they're really putting their own benefit first rather than benefiting the client or the community that they're serving. So fortunately, there's a paradigm shift that's occurring today in the world of marketing, and our guest today epitomizes that change. She is Kim Castle, and she has a very impressive resume, but I'm just going to give you just the high points here that really struck me. She has a new television show called KimTV, and it's online, so I invite you to check that out. And she is also the co-creator of a business called Brand U, which is a foundational business system. She is also a columnist and an author, and she's been featured on CNN Headline News, also on Fox Business News, that's interesting, and Inc. magazine. And what I found very interesting and fun about Kim is that she's also a stand-up comedian, and you're going to see that today, especially with Stu and Kim here in the same set. And also an international speaker. And she has engaged audiences worldwide in helping them get in touch with what she calls the more tingle in their lives. In fact, her byline is, "It's all about the tingle." So we're going to hear all about that today. So I'm really happy to welcome Kim Castle to Get Conscious Now, a voice for the new entrepreneur and feminine leadership.
Well, thank you so much, Patricia and Stu.
Lovely to see you.
Thank
really.
you. Mwah.
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 It's a joy to be here at the Conscious Roundtable.
A conscious roundtable.
Exactly. Yeah, so for anybody really hoping to see a little stand-up comedy today, given that we have wired mics, it may be more of a sit-down variety,
Yeah.
but we still get to go there.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about it. Let's
Sure.
get right in there and get serious for a moment.
Let's do that.
And let's talk about the tingle. Mm-hmm. So it's all about the tingle.
It absolutely is all about the tingle.
What is the tingle?
It's interesting when I talk about the tingle, people want to put it in this conversation about what is the tingle. But when I say it's all about the tingle, there's a remembrance in your body that you already go there before I even have to explain what it is. And in fact, talking about it actually separates you from the tingle, and that's really the trap of the tingle is that we think it's outside when it's actually inside of us. It's in this feeling, it's in this alivement, it's in this sense of fully living and allowing yourself to fully express yourself without fear that whatever you want, whoever you are, can be taken away. And it's really about finding that in everything that you do, everything that you are, and that's a part of you take everywhere.
So is it contagious?
It can be, absolutely is contagious. Well, because it actually, from a scientific standpoint, it's a vibrational pattern. And it is, and we are all vibrational beings. So when you are vibrating at that tingle level, you actually are infecting other people. It is actually contagious. And I do this talk from a social media standpoint, and there's a lot of science that are saying with social media, we've never been more connected, but we've also never been more lonelier as a culture. And there's a separation happening in this very tool that can connect us. And I do talk about the tingle, that when you are so filled with it, it actually can permeate through technology. It can actually permeate everything.
You mean like this television show, dare I say?
Yeah.
Well,
Are you feeling it? Are you feeling any tingle going on right now?
Well, I think it's really when we become present and conscious that we get in touch with our tingle. I associate consciousness with the tingle in my own experience.
Yeah, well, if I were to say, you say, what is the tingle? It's actually for me to say it back to you. What is the tingle? Because I could say, what is the tingle? But it's actually different for each person. So I could say, Stu, what is the tingle to you? And you could say peanut butter. And you say conscious. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
So really what we're talking about here, as you mentioned, tingle is being a vibration. And you can know it, you can feel it.
Absolutely.
There's a sense of aliveness to it. There's a sense of maybe anticipation.
A quickening.
A quickening, a little excitement. You feel a little more alive. You feel kind of excited.
Sure.
You feel good about yourself.
and life.
And life
And
itself.
what you see, what you feel, everything. Now, from a science standpoint, yeah, there's nerves going on in the lemniscus and the thalamus and the ventral medial lemniscus, all these different sensory things that are happening. Yeah. Well, when you're a tingle expert, you got to know. It's all these things from a physiological standpoint, but what science doesn't speak to is that sense of when somebody walks in the room and you instantly feel good. Or when you listen to a song and all of a sudden there's something that happens and
your body starts to tingle.
Yeah, your body starts to tingle. Or from a marketing standpoint, there's like you had no idea about a product before, and in an instant it speaks to you, and there's this voice inside of you that says, I gotta have that. Like Apple, you know, so there's that tingle externally, but we think it's in the product. It's actually in us.
It's in us. So you say that for the majority of your life you've worn two hats, the designer and creative director, and the performer and the motivator. So you've changed people's lives, helping them get in touch with their tingle and expanding their success in life. But you share in your blog that in the midst of doing this, you discovered that there were parts of you that were going unexpressed. So share with us about that experience and what transpired as a result of that, would you?
Yeah, well, as an entrepreneur, you create your own life, you create your own business, and most people don't even realize, even in a job, you're creating your own life, you're creating it all the time, and we become unaware, even in our own creation, of the roles that we create for ourselves and get trapped by the roles. So for myself, having been very, very blessed to help thousands of people tap into their power as a business, from a brand standpoint, I found my own self, there's parts of me that weren't being expressed. So I kind of closed off the entertainer, the mover of hearts, so to speak, and totally focused at the entrepreneurial level, really putting people in their power, giving them the voice, saying, I know through business, we change the world. From a vibrational standpoint, when somebody's really operating in their own power, in their own expression, and they're making money, and they're impacting customers, their employees, their family, that was really my focus. And I found that there was a part of me, the mover, the entertainer, was being unexpressed. I also found myself being out of alignment, where I was coaching and guiding my entrepreneurs to step into their true power, their true expression. And I wasn't doing it. I was like hiding behind them, going, well, it's okay that they make the Inc. 500 list, but you know, that's enough for me. And I was playing small.
So you had a little tingle interrupt us. So to
Total tingle interrupt us. Is it all over my face? But absolutely. So for me, it was like, okay, Kim, talk about conscious or alignment, or going, okay, are you going to continue to wear that mask and hide? Or are you going to really step out and be everything that I promised I would be on this planet? And that was when I went, oh, okay, you mean those things that I was doing before actually come into play, and it's all connected. It's not like I'm leaving one to do this new thing, because I believe the worlds are colliding. I believe business, consumerism, media, spirituality, technology, it's all coming together
in a synergistic whole.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so I'm
I
not
agree.
leaving it behind.
Right.
It's actually stepping back into a certain place in it and bringing all of it with
You're
me.
taking your place in it, which is really everything that you are. And all
everything,
your talent.
absolutely.
Share the Irma Bombeck quote. That's a great quote.
Yeah, I'll bastardize it. Sorry, Irma. But the intention's there. But basically, it's I want, when it comes to the end of my life and I stand before God, I can say I used everything that you gave me.
All my talent.
Yeah, all my talent. It's all used, and that's really what fills me. And when we each do that, we give other people around us and everybody that we connect the ability to do that as well.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm really inviting everybody right now just to notice your level of tingle, and see if you can breathe a little more life into it, and just at least notice, or just imagine what you think it could possibly be to give your life a little more tingle. And hopefully staying with our show is one of them. A little self-promotion there, I hope you don't mind. Let's just stay with this thing. Now, you made a major move from going as an entertainer, right? Street performer, stand-up comic, and you segue into working with big business, and then you go to working with the entrepreneurs. In the leap from working with perhaps the security, the financial security of working with big business, like companies like Disney and IBM, to jump into the great void to reestablish and reconnect with your tingle.
Right.
What kind of demons did you face, or what challenges did you notice along the way? Because that's sometimes what keeps people kind of playing small, so to speak, or to keep people from taking that leap.
Sure. Well, when I was working in big business, I was always an individual, so I never kind of bought into the matrix, so to speak, of corporate life. I always felt like I was a corporate spy. So like I always felt like you're hanging around the break room singing happy birthday, you know, in a corporate, and you realize that you're singing happy birthday to somebody you've never met, and you go, I don't know this person, I'm just here for the cookie, you know, kind of feeling. Yet in big business, I found that there was a disconnect. That it was, and I was very fortunate to work in Madison Avenue, and when I did that, it was like, it was everything I wanted to do. I felt like Darren Stevens in Bewitched, you know, like I, you know, dance on the streets of New York. I'm going to advertising, you know, I get to play with big budgets and big brands. And I found that there was a disconnect there in terms of what the company was really about, that it was all about the razzle dazzle, you know, getting people to buy. And there was always a piece of me looking for the soul, looking for that it meant something. And I remember being on a set once, and it said, like, why are we having this person hold this? And they go, well, because it's this person. And I went, but why? You know, what happens when that person's not in fashion anymore? And they go, well, we'll put somebody else in place. And I go, oh, won't people get tired of that? And they go, Kim, it's a fickle consumer. And I went, no, we're creating a fickle consumer. So while I love the big budgets, I love the big paychecks, I love the big potential, the piece of me was missing was the reason behind things. Now that was about 15 years ago. Fast forward to, so I left to work with entrepreneurs and going, yeah, there was a big shift in the pay, but the payoff was bigger in terms of really connecting with people and what they were really about, and them really creating stability, independence, full expression, and wrapping that through commerce was, to me, exciting, to connect people to their real potential. Because I knew if I connected those people at the core, they would grow up to be the big businesses of tomorrow, connected to the core. There would be no disconnect. So that, to me, was the bigger payoff.
And from a personal standpoint, it sounds like you'd be able to reestablish that tingle, which really, for you, which really is the payoff. And in some ways, what I'm kind of hearing, so even though you were able to get a big paycheck, and most people will just translate the big paycheck to the big tingle.
Right.
What it really comes about is that the tingle really is the currency, and that all the money that you were making, and the other security, and even possibly even respect from others from your lofty position on Madison Avenue.
Well, I tingled there too.
Well, I'm sure you did, or else you wouldn't have gone there. I mean, you got tingle going on, girl, no matter where you go.
You know what, I'm one of those people, I'm a smiley face emoticon overloader. I tingle everywhere, you know.
Right, before there were emoticons.
Exactly, I was the emoticon.
Right.
But yeah, but so I always find a way to tingle wherever I'm at. But yeah, I just felt more fulfillment, and it just felt more in alignment with who I am to work with the entrepreneurs. And now, even in the transition that I'm making to KimTV, the tingle comes with me. But now I can speak more directly to it and be it more, rather than trying to bring it out in others. Yeah. Now I can be it, and in me being it brings it out in others.
Well, because when you're having that experience yourself, you're speaking your own truth. And when you speak your truth, it just goes right into the hearts of and the listening of the people.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about this whole brand conversation. You're one of the first ones to move into this new way of considering branding. When branding is very, very important today, especially for us. Young, I'm not saying younger, newer entrepreneurs that are moving forth with their work.
Right.
So let's talk about, first of all, what is a brand, and how has it changed, let's say, in the past 10 years?
Great question. Well, a brand, when people think about a brand, it really is the precise and pinpointed communication of a company, the product or the service, the value that it stands for, and the ongoing feeling that customers consistently get from it. And what's interesting in terms of what the change was, 10 years ago when I was one of the first people out talking about brand, people would stare at me like, well, no, a brand is what you buy. Brand isn't in my realm of potential. And then it started to shift, the needle started to shift, and people would walk up to me and hand me their business card with a logo and go, how do you like my brand? And I go, well, that's not your brand. That's your business card with a logo on it, you know? And I would slowly but surely, you know, culture started to change to reflect that people, individuals, you know, small business can be a brand. It wasn't just something you buy or let have power over you. You create it. Nowadays, everybody and their grandmother wants a brand. You know, everybody's like, it's almost gone to the other degree and putting all this emphasis on, I am nobody until I am my brand. And so it's really shifted. So it's closer to like people, again, it echoes in a bit spirituality or consciousness in terms of that pursuit. When it is in you, you create it. So I'm excited that people are moving more towards the understanding that they have the power to be everything that they want to project in the world, and that their business is, no matter how big or small, has the power of a brand. I think the sad part is it's so many people out talking about brand that it gets confusing. Mm-hmm. That sometimes to me, it's on par with I teach law of attraction. You know what I mean? It has that kind of nebulousness because so many people, you know, from a brand standpoint, wake up one day and go, hey, I developed my power. I'm going to teach people how to brand. When you realize most people are still missing it, that when you really think about the power of a brand today, it's not just to inspire commerce. It's to give your customers the potential or the aspirational opportunity to experience more life, more joy, more of who they really are through your products.
Because as you do it, you're expressing it. You're expressing it for them.
Absolutely.
Right? And then it's a contagious thing.
Absolutely. And that to me is the true power of a brand. Most people miss that.
So as I'm hearing you start to share more your insights about brand, and also it's all about the tingle. I'm seeing we're really talking about consciousness with perhaps a slightly different set of jargon and a little bit different set of communication. What we're really talking about is how can we expand our existence to have a greater appreciation and a greater communication of who we really are, what makes our joy really come out, whether it's in a commercial situation in commerce, or whether it's in our personal relationships, or whether it's whatever we're doing here right now in this very moment.
Absolutely.
Right? And just whether we call it our tingle, or being more in touch with our brand, or if we want to get a little bit more highbrow about it, we call it consciousness.
Exactly.
It's really all the same. How can we enjoy our lives more and live in accordance and in integrity with our deepest truths?
Absolutely.
Which I can only trust is part of your journey, if not a lot of your journey, now coming out of Brand You into KimTV. So how do you sense your tingle and your brand evolving through the TV show?
Well, as I said earlier, it's not leaving one behind, it's actually bringing it with me. I found that after a decade of being an expert, we don't realize that as you're building that space of being an expert, from a conscious level, to me, it started creating separation. Because in a sense, from a marketing standpoint, you are creating your value from that separation. I know something you don't know. Pay me to know it. And in a sense, that's the shift of marketing that I found that what didn't feel in alignment with me. It actually hurt me. I knew that it's like, I am no different than you. You have expertise, I have. Like, sit down to the table and I go, it's like a picnic. I'm bringing this dish, you're bringing that dish.
Yeah, we express it differently. The expertise is there, and the same as the divinity.
This is a cosmic pot lunch, a pot lunch
a
meal here. We're all part of it.
So for me, I found from a marketing standpoint that I was creating unconsciously a separation. And in the whole game of that expert status, that is the game. And so for me, it didn't feel in alignment. So with KimTV, I actually get to bring it forward and actually walk it and be who I am without the need of posturing or positioning or expertise. Now, from a marketing standpoint, every business needs to carve out its piece and know what dish it's bringing to the picnic, but not in a separation standpoint, knowing that it belongs on a table with other dishes.
Right. It's your piece of the pie or puzzle or whatever.
Picnic, yeah, this big, amazing picnic that we all get to dine at.
What I like to say is that we're all a unique expression of the divine in that human experience. Without our bodies, there's no separation. There's no disconnection. And the illusion, of course, is that when we're in our bodies, we think that we're separate from everyone else, but we're not. But we're just bringing our piece, our unique expression. Yeah.
Right.
So tell us more about KimTV. I know you're really excited about it. It's a new venture for you, and it's helping you really synergize your whole life. But you have wonderful segments in your show. You talk about a lot of different things in fashion and food, and share a little bit about your segments.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I really love about this convergence is that place where commerce and entertainment and products and spirituality and shift all come together, and that's really what I love exploring with KimTV. And you can watch it at youtube.com/Kim Castle. That's where I'm starting, because I believe that is the new frontier of what we call TV. It's like the wild, wild west. There's no rules, and there's no limits, and there's no gatekeepers, and you can do anything you want in terms of the exploration of the message, commerce, connecting to an audience. So at KimTV, I explore a variety of different things. One of my segments is called Aging Ungracefully. And it is really a double play, because I believe as a culture we age ungracefully without awareness that we don't have to age that way. As well as I'm going to go kicking and screaming. You're going to have to cut me open and count the rings. In terms of this expression of this body, because while we are not our bodies, it is a rich playground. We get this vessel we get to play with. So in Aging Ungracefully, I discuss things like that. I look at hormones, I look at products, I look at that expression of ourselves, how we express ourselves through our body. So that's Aging Ungracefully. I have another segment called Escaping Karma.
How fast are you running?
Exactly. I don't think you have to. I think you can just go like this.
Back to Bewitched.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So Escaping Karma is also having a conversation about spirit and consciousness and this experience in these bodies, but what's driving the ship. And I get to do it more from a tongue-in-cheek exploration of all these different things that bring us to that place. So I look at different apps. I look at things like holotropic breathing. I get to explore things. The other day I was talking about Syria, Miley Cyrus, and the Dalai Lama, and a cure for the world ills, all in 6 minutes. So that's Escaping Karma. Another passion of mine is food. In my later years, I've discovered food's a pretty good thing.
What took you so long to come to the party?
I know.
I've been doing this thing for years.
Hello, McFly. So I talk about gluten-free and sugar-free food and healthy eating, and I actually share recipes, and I'm passionately.
Have you written a cookbook?
Not yet, but I plan to.
Will.
I will. I'm in the kitchen, so basically now I'm talking to
people.
So
do you film in the kitchen?
I do. I do, and I actually break down how easy, if you feel like you can't cook, and you've never been able to do that before, you don't have time, or you go, how do I really eat healthy? and have time to do it, I actually break down just how easy it is. So
I can see it now. Castle in the kitchen. In the castle.
in the castle. I do another segment called What's Up with Women.
Yeah, what is up with women?
I know, right?
Come on, it's not a segment. That's like a way of life question.
Well, but funny you say that. I answer men's questions about what makes us tick and why we make everything so damn complicated. And in that, I get to talk about it.
That's a tease. That's a tease for everybody to come to KimTV.
And you can ask me questions and I answer, and no stone is unturned.
Did you ever see that piece on YouTube where this scientist is talking about the difference between women's brains and men's brains? And he's got a box on pedestals, 2 boxes, and he goes, and it's just hysterical. He goes over, he says, now this is a woman's brain, and he looks, and you see all these different connections going every which way and all the different colored wires, because we multitask. We can do so many things at one time. And then he goes over and he shows the box with the man's brain in it, and it's just like one thing, one focus.
Well, actually, that's it's biological. It's single focus.
Biologically,
and
where is
diffuse.
that brain located? Is it up here or is it a little lower? If you know what I mean.
Exactly, and I do talk about the difference between that. I mean, in terms of diffused awareness, this is why our ability to multitask. It's also when we walk in the room, the entire world talks to us. Men, it's why they can walk in a room and step over a pair of socks.
That's right.
Because they don't even see it. That's how you're
wired. And that's a good way for us women to really understand that when we're talking to our guy who's watching the game, forget about it. He's just gonna, He's not really gonna hear us because he's focusing on that one thing.
He's not ignoring you. He can't
Yeah.
ignore you and watch the game at the same time.
That was an important insight for me. Yeah. So just not to take it personally, you know that you really can just focus on one thing at a time, you guys.
Well, the good news is we get to be here right now.
That's
And so even us, men and women both, in this very moment, can actually pay attention
Absolutely.
to exactly what makes our hearts sing, even if it sounds like women have a little more variety than men do, because men can only pick out one at a time.
Yeah, but it's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. See, I got to tell you, Kim, first of all, I love your presence. You really just exude the tingle. I feel it. I've known you for years, and it just feels so great to kind of be the wine here that may be aging very gracefully.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to bring that out now into TV land, where what I'm noticing is that as we're talking about consciousness here, you're bringing consciousness, you're bringing love of life. If we could just kind of make it that simple. Consciousness can really be simply a love of life, just an appreciation for the moment, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And bring that into every single aspect of our being.
Absolutely.
From the kitchen to the boardroom to the bedroom to all the other, million rooms in that glorious mansion of life.
Absolutely.
I think it's love of life, but I think that begins with love of self. I don't think that we've been taught to really love, honor, and appreciate ourselves because, first of all, we don't know who we are. We only think that we're Kim and Patricia and Stu or whomever.
Sure.
So if we can really come into alignment with our essential selves, as I call it, our divinity, call it what you will, it doesn't make any difference, the label, and love ourselves without condition, then what's not fabulous and what's not then penetrating every aspect of life with that love. But it has to begin there, because if it doesn't,
it's the filter. It's the filter, although even that could be the trap, just like the search for consciousness or the search for purpose or the search for loving thyself. Again, it could be, you could find yourself very separate from it in the pursuit of it, because there's this search of constantly trying to find it. And definitely, I've done tons of work. I used to think that I was incredibly loving. In fact, I remember walking out of the movie The Incredibles years ago. Yeah. And I remember I was with my amazing husband and my in-laws, and what's your special skill? What's your skill? What's your skill? What's your skill? And I made a joke about my husband, as I do. And I said, mine is love blanket. I can throw a blanket of love on anything, and realized, wait a second, that was a trap. Until I truly experienced love by being loving. So, I could say that I'm love, I love myself, but until you're actively in the act of it, you're not it yet.
That's an excellent point.
I think the act of it is really also recognizing that tingle, because it's associated with love.
Yeah, it's like, the old saying about you want a friend, be a friend.
Yeah.
And the one thing I'd like to really bring up for conversation here is, because I'm really getting that there really is no one specific way for any of us to awaken. and awakening consciousness other than whatever is natural for us and our path. And for
Yeah.
some of us, it could be awakened by being of service to others and get that reflection back as we do something wonderful for somebody and we get that loving look in the eye that reminds us and lets us know, you know what, maybe we're not so bad. And that feels really good. And maybe I got to do that again. And for others, it could be something more insular and something going within and being more meditative, where they quiet the mind and they start to connect with things much greater than themselves, or start to at least not be so, controlled by the programs and the limiting beliefs of who we think we are.
Sure.
And sometimes you could be awakened just by putting chocolate in your mouth and doing the ultimate yum.
Yeah.
So my sense is there are many ways for us to go about it, and Patricia, it certainly sounds like you're finding yours.
Oh, I definitely am. Just sitting here with you guys, I found mine. So I found this great quote. I was researching quotes because I do a quote at the end of the show, and I found a wonderful quote that I just wanted to ask you about. And it's very simple. It's just, money follows passion, not the other way around. What do you think about that?
I think it can. I don't think it does all the time, because there's certainly people that have, through generations, you go, was Carnegie passionate about, was he in his passion to make money? Was he passionate about, was it steel? Oh, I love steel. I don't know. I mean, so he might have been passionate about making money, and that was there. So I think it does, it can. It's not mutually exclusive. I definitely think that when you are on that path, and I do believe that's the shift in this shift, is that I think it's a more sustainable, more enjoyable, more fulfilling way to go. With Brand You, we always say it's really about that sense of self-expression. It's that full voice, it's that full, and when you really build a sustainable business around that problem you solve, that thing that you saw missing in the world, it's certainly
Well, I think that's
a lot
what
more
fuels your passion.
Absolutely.
And when you're fueled by your passion, then the money will come.
Right.
You just need to trust that.
Yeah. Now I think times have changed where your passion can't be money.
Yes, I totally agree.
I think pre, like early industrial age and stuff like that, I think the passion was money, and that was part of that shift of the time period.
I used to be a money manager here, so I get to weigh in a little bit. In my former life as a money manager, my passion was absolutely money. Absolutely, and I remember even hanging out with the kids, wondering where Microsoft and Cisco and all these companies their stock is going to trade the next day.
Right.
So that was my, full-on being.
Right.
And grateful to be in the right place at the right time to have some money follow the passion. But what I could also say is I know what it's like to have great passion where I'm still looking for that money to follow in some areas.
Right.
And they are decoupled. And so my sense is we're talking about money here. We're talking again about a currency, and I'll mention more about that in the Stu'sViews coming up, but also about the tingle. It's about that is really what we're here for in life, is to feel that joy, to feel that appreciation, to have that live current running through us that we get to be and share with others.
Right.
And
I agree.
some of that has to do with money. And yet money is, and I think more and more of us who have had some experience with money are really learning what it doesn't buy.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't buy that tingle.
Absolutely. And I think money, the shift also in terms of money, and I do believe that structure is going to shift. I don't know how it's going to shift, but it's so broken. But I think money is really an idea backed by confidence, in terms of receiving money. I think it's not just about passion. That's the fuel that allows you to continue to go through obstacles and continue to wake up every day and go, oh, this is challenging, but I'm fed, I'm fueled from this place. But it's also about creating a sustainable business. It's understanding that you're providing real value, knowing the connection your business has with the world around you. It's all of those components. And then creating an incredible experience, as I said, that people want to pay for and be a part of and never want to leave. So I think it's more than just passion.
Well, if you mentioned Dale Carnegie, he certainly was a very wealthy man. I mean, steel was his thing.
That was Andrew Carnegie. Dale Carnegie is how to win friends and influence people.
We know where she lives.
Just so you know.
Thank you Stu.
I know my Carnegies.
Okay, mixed up Carnegies. All right. Well, then my point is
yes,
not well
he was,
taken.
Yeah, but he was wealthy, and his focus was wealth, and it was a different time period in terms of.
I got my Carnegies mixed up.
The building.
Were they even related?
I don't know.
Sorry. Now I said I know my
don't
Carnegies.
know.
No, I don't know my Carnegies. You know how quickly things happen like
I
that?
think he's connected to Carnegie Hall, though.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And Carnegie Mellon. Yeah, so we got that going for us. You mentioned, or actually, you kind of touched upon it briefly, but I want to come back to it because I saw it in some of your materials that you gave us to prepare for our interview here, about your ability to track emerging trends, even before they occur. And I also saw something about tapping into the heart of humanity. So what are you seeing and what are you feeling right now as it relates to these emerging trends? What are you seeing?
I think we live in an incredible time right now. I think the paradigm is shifting so, we're living in this time that things are shifting so radically. And it's scary because we've got our feet in two worlds.
Right.
And, and for those of us who are more on the conscious awareness side, we're excited, but still there's a part of us, we were brought up with our feet in that old world. So even in ourselves, as we are led by this idea of the shift, there's still old parts of us connected to the old. I think it's shifting no matter what we do. We're a part of this amazing ushering in. I think it's important to realize, I can feel that people are scared, especially because of these structures that were built from that old paradigm, are crumbling, and we don't know what's coming up. We don't know, and I think the real opportunity is to realize that we are the structures that are coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
well,
beautiful.
I think we're breaking down this idea of who we think we are and coming into in attunement with who we are, which gives us a whole different lens of perception in our world.
And the moment we think we are who we are, it shifts again
Exactly.
because it never stays still.
Right. It's evolving. We are evolving. It's like, a flower doesn't stand still. It just continues to blossom.
Even as spirit beings, we're continually evolving because there is no arriving at the destination. It's really about the journey.
And I heard something from a dear friend of mine who is an incredible channel on the planet. And there's several of us from a conscious standpoint that go, what's happening on this planet is too heavy or too dense, or I don't know if I want to be here. And there's this sense of wanting to leave and go home. And he says this so beautifully. He said, we are here to bring home here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I like that. Who is the channel?
Matt Kahn.
Matt Kahn. Haven't heard of him.
Brilliant. Divine Wisdom, I think you can find him on YouTube. Just genius. I knew him way back when he was a conscious rapper.
A conscious rapper.
He's like this little Buddha on the planet.
And now he's unwrapped?
And now he's unwrapped the present.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. My sense is, and we touched upon it earlier, the tingle, our consciousness, is the currency.
Yeah.
And that is the old world that we're leaving, is that we've thought that the currency is out there.
Yes.
The currency is in our material possessions, in that sense of outer security, when in fact our currency, which we have to offer, and we have unlimited supply. Unlike that other form of currency, which feels like it is under consciously being held scarce in many ways, that we really get a chance now to have who we are, our love of life, and our gratitude just simply to be having this opportunity to have this human experience, be the currency, and really share that with each other. And I'm noticing that it actually starts to expand the currency supply rapidly as we interact.
Sure, and not to let out that products and buying things and not to be defined by them, but it's part of the experience. So you can't leave it out. I mean, I like nice things. I like living in a nice house.
It's about balance. It's about finding our balance between our humanity and our divinity. I think that's really where it's at. So we can be present to who we are and have the kind of lives that we want to have with the tingle being present.
Absolutely, that expand us as opposed to contract us.
You know, we're coming to the close of the interview here. I can't believe it's gone so quickly, and I want to ask you, in light of our conversation today, then how would you define conscious marketing? How would you define it?
Oh, that's a good question, because again, once you put the label conscious, it starts to be put in a box. And I found years ago, we actually were putting ourselves forth as conscious business experts. And I found that the moment you put the word conscious on it, it shrinks it. People have their own context, you know, of what conscious is, or it puts it either on the woo side, or it reminds them of, you know, the nun that hit them when they were a kid, you know, whatever it is. But I would say, if I were to put it in some kind of terminology, conscious marketing is stepping away from the propaganda side of marketing, where you're so completely only showing one piece of the puzzle to elicit a particular response, and really open it up to an experience of knowing that what you do has an impact. What your business does, not only from the result you bring in people's lives, but the result it takes to make your business, the vendors, it's really seeing it from a purely connective place. Exactly, and knowing that everything your business is going through, growing through, can be shared, as opposed to only showing a small, isolated picture. And so to me, that's conscious marketing.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're coming to the close of this interview segment, and it was really fun and wonderful and great information to get out there. So thank you so much. And I think you'll enjoy the rest of our show as well, because we're going to tie that tingle into everything.
Good, I'm going to tingle.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kim. And so now we're ready for my co-host here to present his Stu's Views, and I bet you it's going to be about the tingle.
You had inside information. Okay, so let's get into it here. This version of Stu's Views is, in fact, about the tingle. And as promised, I would first like to offer up the tingle that can come from many directions. With that said, I took up our last guest, Julia Loggins, yes, former wife of Kenny Loggins, the performer, who happens to be a colon hydrotherapist. And I volunteered, as I'm wont to do, just jump right in and say yes to the moment, to have a colonic myself with said Julia, which in fact took place last night. And of course, you know, there is a cosmic comic out there in all of life, and I think you find a lot of things to be kind of funny and ironic and everything. I couldn't even find the building. I parked the car right where I saw the number to be on the street sign, and don't you know, it said building in the rear. So I knew I must have been in the right place. So there you go. I get the colonic with Julia, and
Did everything come out all right?
yes, you'll have to take my word for it. I brought no hard evidence or any other texture for that matter. Let's leave it at that. But in any event, it was a beautiful, amazing experience, because I really wanted to be humble to the possibility that the physical body holds on to all kinds of old energies, old thoughts, old stuff that may in fact keep our emotions and keep that tingle very much in check. And so I had a colonic with her. Yes, it involves water going up and coming back out, you know where, down south. And she actually did a lovely massage of the belly along with it that felt so relaxing, and she was really sweet about it. And as one can imagine, it was a rather intimate experience, and some people would really want to pucker up a bit. And let's call it out, right? Let's not get so embarrassed, because we are not our physical bodies, and yet we're walking around in them, and they really inform our lives. Sure. So why not have it all humming to allow for this tingle to be ever present in every single cell? At least that's what I'm calling it. And so what I can share with you is, it was a beautiful experience. It felt great. For me, I'm really inviting you to do it for yourselves, okay, and to check it out. And really make sure that if you were to go with a colon hydrotherapist, make sure you feel really comfortable with them, because truly nothing less is being called for in this particular activity. And so along the lines of staying with the theme of tingle And the theme of tingle and humanity and who we are, literally being our currency. I had a great conversation the other day in calling in one of my credit card companies that offer bonus points. And I had some questions. I hadn't received the bill. I had the card for about 6 weeks. I started getting concerned. Oh my God, I'm going to get finance charges. And here I was signing up to get these bonus points and to translate them to cash and everything else. And I started to get that fear that somehow it's going to cost me. And I'm not going to, so I call up and they were very polite. And they say, hello, sir, how are you? And I said, and the truth is, what I said was I feel amazingly blessed. I feel amazingly blessed. How are you? And she goes, good. I said, okay, well, the day is young and maybe things can move a little bit. And so we talk, we have a lovely conversation, blah, blah, blah. She explained everything I needed to hear and all the questions I had to ask, she had a ready answer for in a very gentle and congenial manner. And I just said, thank you so much. And I tell her, it's such a pleasure to be in conversation with you on this. I just really want to thank you for explaining everything to me. I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity. And I said, by the way, how do you feel now? She goes, well, sir, I have to say, I feel really good. I said, really? Well, consider I just gave you bonus points. I just gave you the currency of just being loving and friendly and fun and grateful and all the rest. And she goes, you know what? I'm going to take these bonus points and I'm going to cash them in with the next customer. Oh, okay. How sweet is that? How sweet is that? So I'm really inviting you just to notice where you're tingling and just to notice how you could perhaps get that little tingle just a little bit more. And I think you guys know how to do it, even if it's just in your breath. And so with that, thank you. And until next time, I want to pass the energetic ball right back to my lovely co-host, Patricia. Here you go, sweetheart.
Okie dokie. And you know what? I'm going to pass the ball back to you. You know why?
I don't.
Because you and I had talked about how fun it might be to just express what we do in the world when we're not doing Get Conscious Now. And I think it's important because it kind of fills in the blanks as to who we are and what we're up to. So if you would take a moment to just to share a little bit about what you do when you're not on camera.
Well, for the moment, I'll just share very briefly how we can interrelate. In terms of what else I'm doing off camera, you'll just have to guess. But yeah, so real briefly, I do engage in some coaching. I do engage in some holding space and working with people energetically and hearing what they have to say and really inviting them both to breathe and to use some other exercises to stay with the theme of the show, to really get their tingle on. And that's really what I do. And if you want to learn more about it, you can just simply email me at Stu, S-T-U, at getconsciousnow.com. It's that simple. And Patricia, why don't you share what you're up to beyond the show?
Yes, I will, very briefly. So what I'm up to is helping people get their tingle on as well. I do it as a spiritual counselor, and I meet on the one-to-one with clients, but my most recent passion is conducting circles, women's circles and men's circles. And these circles are an opportunity to really understand spiritual principles that are grounded and founded in quantum physics. I feel that if we have a logical, left-brain, practical understanding of spirituality, it just makes more sense and it just becomes common sense. So I do a 4-month circle and we cover relationship, beginning with the most important relationship which is ourselves. We cover health and body, money, and also our soul's purpose. And I feel like I'm truly in line with my soul's purpose and the tingle that I get. So here's the quote that we're going to close with tonight. And this has been on my outgoing message for my home phone for several months, and I just love it, and I'm going to share it with you tonight. And it's from Maya Angelou. You can only become truly accomplished doing something that you love. Don't make money your goal. Do what you love doing, and do it so well that people can't take their eyes off of you. I love that quote, and I really try to live it every single day of my life. When we do what we love, our tingle is on. I can feel it right now as I say these words. I love doing this work. I love being a communicator about transforming the media, which is really the bottom line for me. Transforming the media in such a way that this kind of information can get out into the field, into humanity, to the point where that number of critical mass hits, whatever that is, and we all are in the conversation. So let me ask you this. How do you get your tingle on? Are you doing something that you truly love doing in life? Do you get up every day and you can't wait to do the work you're doing? Or are you trapped in a job that you don't love? That's a 9-to-5 job, and if you're making a lot of money, that's an even bigger trap. So I ask you to ask yourself this question, right? What is it that I could do that I would really love to do? And how is it that I could bring this about? So you may just want to sit with that and allow whatever comes up from the subconscious, whatever comes up, to come up. But I would say that if you don't know what it is that you want to do, you don't have to know. You don't have to know what it is. Trap sometimes is a form. We need to really focus on what I call qualities, essence qualities. So you could speak yourself into creation every day, and I do this every day. I say, I, Patricia, in co-creation with the universe of unlimited potential, am now fully self-expressed in my soul's purpose as a transformer and a communicator. My career is filled with the essence qualities of fulfillment, contribution, fun, financial abundance, and making a difference on the planet. To me, it doesn't really make any difference how the form of it shows up. It happens to be showing up as this show, Get Conscious Now. But I want it to show up in everything that I do all the time. So all you have to do is just say that statement. You have the statement, put your own name in there, and put in the essence qualities that are important to you for your career. So there you go.
Okay. Well,
Looks like we're at the end of our show.
Hand.
Right.
Give me your hand.
Hand. Okay.
So.
All right. Until next time.
Get
conscious now.
Welcome to State and Fig, located in historic Laura Cotta Plaza in downtown Santa Barbara.
Our menu focuses on products that are raised in the state of California, inspired by the flavors of the Riviera.
And we are proud to be sponsoring this program.
Hello, I'm Twyla Kim. I've been an artist and hairstylist in Santa Barbara for 20 years. I personalize color, design, and precision haircuts for each individual at Sequel Salon in Montecito. I'm happy to be sponsoring Get Conscious Now.
I'm attorney Gregory Lowe. I will prepare your trust, bankruptcy, divorce, conservatorship, probate, evictions. All of this I can do at an affordable price and with caring. Thank you very much.
When I was growing up as a kid, I used to go around with him and watch him.
My mother and I both worked at Lowry Field to keep on doing this together.